So what's your inner child? Your inner child is pretty much emotions that you felt as a child, but that you never processed. Either it was too strong, right? And because of that, you found some coping mechanism as a child, or your parents did not soothe you correctly. And so you rejected the soothing, and you rather than process the emotion, you started creating some coping mechanism. And a lot of the time when you're a kid and you experience intense emotions, you don't know what you're feeling. The reason why is because you have no words for it, right? You're a fucking weirdo kid. You just have strong sensations. Your feeling are strong sensations. And so when you're feeling strong emotions, and you don't have words to describe it, what happens is that those emotions become suppressed. Meaning they get clogged up because you don't understand it. And so on top of it comes your conscious mind, and everything else here is unconscious. And what I mean unconscious, I mean unprocessed emotion. And so you'll feel, and so these emotions usually come up during certain situations. They come back during relationships, and during different power dynamics, right? It could be that it comes up when you have power over someone, or they could come up when you have no power over someone. Now, what are those things? Those things are uncontrollable emotions or compulsions. And these emotions are so strong that they hijack your brain and you start acting out of character. In fact, you may start to act like the opposite of what you appear to be on the outside. And the reason being is because your unconscious understands that this part exists. And so it impels your conscious side to create certain psychological edifices and psychological defenses to shield you from getting hurt, to shield other people from seeing this side. And so you create the opposite of what you really are on the inside. So you might come across as though somebody who is calm and confident, but really on the inside, you have no control over your emotions, right? That's really a coping mechanism. And this person will lose control during certain situations, like when they're in a relationship and the person doesn't like them back. When they're in a situation where the person really likes them and they don't like them back and they have power over them. Some people might start acting power hungry, right? Or it could be that they have a job where they rule over people and they start abusing their employees, right? And so these things at the end of the day, they're all compulsions that they can't control. So when someone doesn't like them back and they have a fear of abandonment, there's a compulsion to want to get their validation. Another form of it is another form of this type of childhood trauma is addiction. Remember, sometimes when you can't deal with these unconscious emotions, they start to become numb, right? And this numb feeling sometimes comes across as boredom, right? Or just a sense of uncomfortability. It's almost like you feel uncomfortable. You feel like there's something missing. That's usually unprocessed trauma, seeking a valve to release the pressure, seeking something to use it on. And sometimes you might use your traumas as a way to motivate you to succeed in life. And don't get me wrong, that is fine, but that's not really processing the emotion. You're just using that energy. It doesn't heal you, but it's prolonging the inevitable. But it's a coping mechanism that works, right? So people might they feel really insecure, and so they have such a strong need to find security that they work a lot, right? And so they allow themselves to be free from their trauma through distraction. And it is great because that's why a lot of successful people had a lot of fucked up childhoods, right? But the problem with that is that it's all temporary, right? It still comes up in other areas. Maybe not as much. No, it does come up. You might be able to hide it a little bit quicker. What you have to do is the cure for this is literally conscious awareness. Conscious awareness of what? Well, let's talk about this. You want to be conscious aware of the process of the trauma, meaning what triggers it. How does it arise? How does it feel? And when I say aware, I mean just observe it. You see, like this trauma, the reason why it hurts and the reason why it's trauma is because you didn't process it. What I mean by that, you literally did not feel it. It was too intense, and so you looked away. Nobody showed you how to comfort yourself. Your parents never showed you how to comfort yourself because maybe they made you more stressed. And so the way out of it is to literally feel your way out of it. That's pretty much it. You want to feel your way out of that emotion. And you feel your way out of that emotion is through, I'm gonna give you a few ways, right? And these are all options, right? The free way, Ricky Freeway, is meditation. That's the free way. Well, when you meditate, the emotions of wanting to stop meditating are negative emotions, correct? Well, negative emotions all come from a place, a fear, which originally comes from fear of death, but then it's like a branch that branches out to other emotions, right? And so the fear is the source of all of your other emotions like anxiety, sadness. And so depending on how strong and unconscious this fear is, it'll dictate how strong these other secondary emotions are, right? And so sometimes when you meditate, you feel an anxiety to stop meditating. And so if you relax, observe the sensation and just relax and smile at the sensation and bring awareness to the breath. What you'll notice is that if you relax and don't react and don't get up, like we always talk about, the emotion eventually is going to arise and pass away. It's like hunger, right? If you don't eat long enough, the hunger goes away. And then the next time this emotion comes up, it comes up with less intensity. But then you relax and you don't act on it. You don't act on it. That means if you want to double text someone, don't act on it. If you want to really get super needy, relax and observe the sensation and allow it to pass away. Each time this happens, the emotion gets lower and lower and lower. Because what you're doing is that the only reason why emotions become very cold and anxiety and almost like it's the sense of emptiness, it's because you have looked away from it. You have not felt it. And so they almost rot. It's like leaving food outside. They rot. So the way to do that is by bringing conscious awareness. It's very similar to putting your food in the refrigerator. It rejuvenates it, right? By you awareness, bringing your conscious life to the feeling and seeing it and relaxing your body and relaxing your mind. It's like a fire, right? What's fueling the fire is all of the wood, right? You're not adding any more wood. You're letting the fire. And so eventually this fire is going to burn out. But when you observe the sensation and react and act on it, right, and get mad, that's why when I tell you observe the sensation and do it with a calm and peaceful mind, you're like, your mind says, I want to stop meditating. You're like, like you consciously, and then bring awareness to the breath. You're not adding more wood. And so the emotion may not leave, but eventually it's going to go away. You just have to just keep staying still, observe, and don't react. Don't say this is not good, this sucks. No, just observe and then bring awareness to the sensation of the nose. Now, you bring awareness to the sensation of the nose, right? This is the nose right here, right? This is the mouth, right here. Okay. So you bring awareness to this area right here. From the top of the nose to the bottom of to the top of the lip. You just notice what's going on. The more narrow the focus, the smaller the area, the more intense the meditation. And what happens is that when you're observing this, you'll notice that your childhood trauma will try to get your attention because you want to stop meditating. And then you'll notice the attention is removed away, and now you're observing the distraction. And then you relax your mind and say, oh, I'm meditating. Let me go back to the breath. And now what you'll notice is that you're feeling the trauma, you're feeling the desire to stop meditating, but because you're concentrating on the breath, no thoughts arise, right? You're so deeply concentrated that the only thing you can do is feel the sensation. There's no mental reaction because your mind needs your distracted attention. When your mind is focused and deeply aware of a very small finite point, it doesn't have the energy to recruit thoughts because it's so taken up by the awareness of the small sensation of the nose. And so it's almost like you sit and meditate to trigger yourself. You also do this in real life. It could be that maybe somebody rejected you, or maybe your childhood trauma is the lack of intimacy. Well, constant meditation will lower these emotions, because you gotta understand, when you're really traumatized, your hippocampus, your amygdala is very active, and your frontal cortex is very inactive. So through meditation, you increase the capacity of your you increase your frontal cortex, white matter, and you decrease the activity of the amygdala, meaning you feel less intense emotions because you're not reacting anymore, right? The way to shrink the activity of the amygdala is to literally observe the reactions of the amygdala and don't react to it with your frontal cortex. Just remain relaxed and aware in the seat of consciousness. And eventually, because you're not rewarding those biochemical reactions in your brain, they stop firing. You just observe it. Right? But the problem is that you have to almost like feel those intense emotions, and they're kind of uncomfortable, to be honest with you. Now, the next way that I recommend you do this is to take literally cognitive behavioral therapy. What they do is that they sort of allow you to explore your emotions and see the real cause of why you do what you do. And what I said is that conscious awareness of the process of your mind, why you get angry, at what point you get angry, what are the specific thoughts that you have that causes you this anger, and where does it come from? By just literally understanding it, like literally having a conscious awareness of it, it reduces the firing. And eventually it goes away, especially if you combine it with meditation and therapy. It really does work. Those two ways really, because remember, it's all about intense emotions you can't control. What we're doing here is that we're teaching you how to deal with those intense emotions you can't control by not reacting to it. We're getting at the source. We're not fixing the situation. We're getting at why you react that way. And by bringing conscious awareness to your emotions, you actually learn to control it better. That's really how it's done. You should check out one of those Vipassana meditation retreat, or go to one of those Buddhist temples that have daily meditations, and go see a therapist. Go to BetterHelp, or get one here in Mexico. Like, go do that, and your inner child is healed through conscious awareness. I'm telling you, man, that's how that works. Anyways, let me know if this video makes sense, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.